Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I got my hand on the calendar. I'm ready to rip this page off. It's the last day of the month. It's almost April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
And I'm spoiling it for people who are trying to trick you. So be prepared. That's coming up tomorrow. Got a guest coming up today, though. Lucas Rockwood, going to be talking about yogabody and Absolute Yoga Academy. And it's all about proper breathing, is what he's saying. It's got to learn how to breathe.
All right.
And,
I'd like to take yoga.
Well, he's going to teach us how to breathe to put yourself in a relaxation mode.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, I got a quote for today, Friday the 31st of March. There's no substitute for hard work, 23 or 24 hours a day, and there's no substitute for patience and acceptance. 23 or 24 hours of hard work?
Yeah.
Cesar Chavez, and it's Cesar Chavez Day. We'll tell you about that in a bit. A lot of special things going on today. It's all on the way.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It is Friday, March the 31st. It's Bunsen burner day today. Do you remember those? From like science class, Bunsen burners?
Yeah.
I made s'mores on those one time because I thought it'd be funny.
Okay.
And it was funny. And I got in trouble. International Hug a Medievalist Day today. International Transgender Day of Visibility. National Prom Day. National She's Funny That Way Day. Terry's Day. And Cesar Chavez Day today. So we got a lot of things going on.
I guess so.
I wonder who Terry is.
I have no idea.
Terry's Day. Can we just proclaim it's Heidi's Day sometime?
Sure.
So what day would you like that to be? Anything in particular?
I don't know. The 13th.
Of what?
Of anything.
Okay.
How about every Friday the 13th?
Is Heidi's Day?
That'd be great.
Okay, we'll do
Love
that.
that.
We'll start adding that in. Unofficially, but we're going to make it official. It is Friday, the 31st day of March.
John and Heidi.
How much do you pay for cable or satellite? Don't forget your DVR rental fees and online movie accounts. When you add it all up, many people are paying well over $100 a month. Some pay way more. What if you could cut that down to zero? There's a device that surfs the net to find shows and programs you like with no monthly fee. Many have already cut their cable or tossed out their dish. If you have internet and a TV, you're all set. Learn more about this awesome technology that can save you money every month at channelsurfertv.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 25% at channelsurfertv.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. This story just makes me so happy, makes me smile. Even people who invent some gadgets can't figure out how to work the darn things. Listen to this story. This is a true story. Technical University of Eindhoven, this is in Netherlands, found that half of the gadgets returned to stores as malfunctioning actually worked just fine. People just couldn't figure out how to make them work. So they had a flood of new devices, things from MP3 players to home theaters, all hitting stores, and the study found the average U.S. consumer will struggle with a new gadget for about 20 minutes before giving up on it. So have you ever done that before? I don't know how to make this stupid thing work, and you just let it go?
I don't think so.
I've done that.
I know you have. You have lots of things that you've bought.
I had an iPad. I couldn't figure it out, so I got rid of it.
And you don't bother to return them. You just don't use them, and so it's wasted money, and they're sitting here. You had to have some tiny little microchip computer, too, that you never did anything with.
It's a Raspberry Pi.
Because you couldn't figure out how to use it.
Where is that?
So you're just like,
do I have
no clue.
Yeah,
you have it somewhere.
Oh, I know where it is. I gave it to a friend. He's gonna do something with it. Anyway, the researchers also gave new gadgets to a group of Philips electronics managers. So they're saying, hey, you know what? Let's see just how tough this is. They gave it to the managers. They sent them home over the weekend. They came back frustrated. They couldn't figure out how to get them to work either.
That says a lot.
So that's the part that makes me happy because I have given up on things because I'm like, I just don't get it. And I'm not patient enough to read this book again to figure it out. I just returned something because I couldn't make it work. They said, does it work? I said, I'm sure it functions just fine. I don't know how to make it work. So I just did that like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Anyway, this thing here from Philips Electronics, it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Oregon police say an intoxicated man told police he was, quote, showing off, end quote, with his new Subaru when he crashed into a house.
Oh.
More accurately, the car went through a yard and then hit a power pole before crashing into the house. The driver was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence. Suspicion? Can't they find that out right away by giving him a breathalyzer and whatnot? So I wonder what happened there. So he was showing off in his new Subaru when he crashed into a home.
It's not so new anymore.
No. You know, I've never crashed into a home. That would be so embarrassing. I've seen that.
Oh, that would be awful.
I've seen it where people like crashed into a building, like into a... I remember there was a photo online where a kid crashed into the driver's license office. So I was like, oh boy. Probably not,
he failed.
Not walking out of there with a license today. Anyway, this is a fun one here. But kids, that's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. A thief must have worn himself out robbing a home in Maine. A crook was so sleepy he took a nap after he robbed the home. Listen to this one, Heidi.
Do you have to tell one of these stories every week?
It happens all the time, and they're different ones. Listen to what happened here. The odd part here is that he decided to take the nap in the home that he just robbed. Police say the man entered a home, piled all the objects that he was planning to steal right by the door. That's when he decided to catch a few Z's. A neighbor noticed a strange vehicle in the driveway and called the police. When they arrived, they found the man asleep on a bed in the home where they arrested him. Police Chief Bob Snow said he was really tired, so he was going to take a quick nap. Unfortunately for him, his alarm clock didn't buzz.
Wow.
I think that's just awesome. How many times?
All the time.
This is like maybe the fifth or sixth time I've read about this.
All the time.
Now, Heidi thinks I'm reading the same stories, but I know this is a different story. So there's just a lot of dumb people who are robbing places and getting tired.
I guess.
There you go. Got your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. If it sounds too good to be true, but the people behind the job offer say it's legitimate, maybe it is legitimate. Let's see. Since posting an online ad looking for somebody to travel the world and stay in luxury accommodations, Third Home has been inundated with applications. The monthly salary for this job, Heidi, is over $10,000. The successful applicant will get to travel the world for 3 months and blog about their experience in 12 multi-million-dollar holiday homes.
I would be awesome.
The requirements are not too restrictive. As long as you are over the age of 18, can speak English,
check,
and have excellent writing skills,
check,
you can apply. So there you go. Third Home is the name of the company. So where are you going, Heidi?
That's fantastic.
She's working on that right now.
See ya.
She'll be checked out the rest of this program. In Egypt, a woman was stopped at a border crossing after guards noticed she had a strangely fat-looking shape that didn't quite look right. The woman's shape raised suspicion, so they did a little body search, and the female border guard turned up 3 crocodiles that she had strapped to her waist. This is in Egypt. What the heck was she planning on doing? The animals, each about 20 inches long, were concealed underneath of her loose robe. So she had this robe, and she had the animals strapped to her somehow, and they noticed some bulges that didn't look quite right.
She's lucky she didn't get bit.
3 alligators. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, people. As many millennials are struggling to figure out what they want to be when they grow up, there's somebody that had it all figured out, Laureen Maurer, and her story is a pretty cool one. This could maybe be inspiration for some youngsters out there. She is 94 years old. She's a great-grandmother from Indiana. She just celebrated 44 years of service at McDonald's.
Yeah.
So she's been there. She's 94, so that means she would have started when she was 50.
Is she a manager?
No, she's working her way up to that. No, she's not retiring. Maurer says she gets up at 3 a.m. every day for her 5 a.m. shifts. She only works on Fridays and Saturdays now. She's worked at several locations for McDonald's in Evansville, Indiana since 1973 when her husband retired due to a disability. So She was 50 because, like I said, she's 94 now, and she's been there 44 years. So
well, good for her.
That's pretty darn cool. Hey, 61% of adults who wake up with an alarm say they use the snooze button. Do you ever use the snooze, Heidi?
I don't use an alarm.
You don't. I don't. I use an alarm and I don't use snooze because if I did, I'd probably just keep sleeping. I wouldn't probably hear the second one. Anyway, 39% of people are up and at 'em when the alarm goes off. Roughly 17% of snooze users hit snooze only once. 15% say they hit it twice. 14% say they hit it 3 times. You guys need to go to bed earlier. Hey, I got a fun story here, and I've got a video to accompany this, and it's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Today is prom day. Remember that?
Yes.
It's National Prom Day today, and prom season is all around us right now, and social media is brimming with extravagant proposals for the prom. North Carolina teen Tyler Chipwood, he kept it simple with a keyboard and a bunch of balloons reminiscent of the ones that were in the movie Up. His little date that he was asking, that's her favorite movie. So he had the keyboard in the garage, and he had the balloons tied to the keyboard. And then when she opened the garage door to come in, he played the theme to Up. I thought that was pretty cool.
Absolutely adorable.
It is. And he put some thought into it. So that's really, really neat. And we've got a video at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And finally, a man in Germany was charged with theft and burglary after police said they found 93 pounds of women's panties, bras, and other underwear at his home. 93 pounds. Investigators believe the man took as many as 1,500 undergarments from apartment complexes' laundry rooms before he was caught. So he was going in to, help with laundry.
Yeah, nothing
apparently.
weird about that.
What is that's in Germany. So in Germany, there's a dude stealing underwear. In Egypt, there's a lady smuggling crocodiles. So the good news is, right now, America's looking pretty darn good. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Imagine the sand between your toes and an ice-cold drink in your hand. Join us this November for 80s in the Sand.
Week-long event with 80s music from over a dozen awesome bands.
Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
The website is 80sinthesand.com.
Book your week-long 80s vacation right now at 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Today we're going to talk about breathing, and not just breathing, but we're going to talk about the benefits of breathing the right way. We've got the founder of Absolute Yoga Academy, Lucas Rockwood, joining us. He's a yoga teacher. He's also the founder of Yogabody, but let's start from the beginning. Lucas, where is Absolute Yoga Academy located?
Absolute Yoga Academy is based in Koh Samui Island, which is in Thailand.
Oh, wow. That's on completely the other side of the world from where we are. But I don't hear an accent. Are you from the United States, or where are you from originally?
Yeah, I grew up in the States, and I've lived abroad for most of my adult life, and I kind of split my time between Thailand and here in Barcelona, which is our Yogabody headquarters for our Yogabody studio group.
Well, that's really cool. Now, a lot of people think about yoga breathing practices, and they think that it's just about, getting more oxygen levels, but you're saying that these practices can also change your body's carbon dioxide levels. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so here's the thing, John. You go to any yoga class, and your teacher will be talking about breathing, and they'll say we're flooding our body full of fresh oxygen, and it's not that that's incorrect, but it's just not really accurate. What we're actually doing in yoga is we're manipulating CO2, and actually all yoga breathing practices, all athletic breathing practices, we're manipulating our carbon dioxide levels, which is a very, very interesting thing because it has a very remarkable impact on your nervous system response and even the alkalinity and acidity of your blood. And so if your listeners want to do a really quick experiment with their breath, they can check in with their nervous system state. Here's what I'd like you to do. Take your index finger and put it underneath your nose like it was a mustache, and then exhale through both nostrils.
All right.
Pretty much everyone will find that their breath comes out stronger from one nostril than the other, meaning the breath tends to dominate the right or the left nostril. John, did you notice on your side if one of your nostrils was dominant?
Yeah, it was my left. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, so it alternates. About every hour and a half or 2 hours, it'll switch. and your nostril preference corresponds with your autonomic nervous system state. Now, that sounds like a mouthful.
Yeah.
Let me unpack that for you. So right now you're in your left nostril, which means you're in your right brain, which is more of a creative state, which is appropriate because you're doing this show.
Yeah.
And it also corresponds with parasympathetic nervous system response, so rest and digest. Now, right before going to the gym, right before your morning commute, you will be in your right nostril, which is fight or flight, your sympathetic nervous system response. And this sort of phenomenon is called the nasal cycle, and it was discovered in 1895 by a German physician named Richard Kaiser. And it's something that listeners can use to check in with their nervous system and to see if they're in their fight or flight mode, their rest or digest mode. And here's where it gets interesting, John. You use yoga breathing to manipulate that. So if you're about to go to bed and you're stuck in a fight or flight mode, you can do 10 rounds of breathing and move over into your left nostril into parasympathetic nervous system. And conversely, if you're about to go to the gym and you're feeling kind of sleepy, you can do some quick, literally 5-10 rounds of breath, and you can get yourself in the right state of mind for practice.
So it's like switching your brain into the right gear to do whatever task you're going to be doing.
Yeah, a lot of what happens in yoga is we bring awareness to things that are usually automatic, things like breathing, digestion, thought patterns. And so our autonomic nervous system, as the name suggests, is automatic. But the interesting thing is, using yoga principles, we can override some of that automatic stuff and take control. And that gets very, very interesting for people with health, stress, lifestyle challenges, which probably is all of us.
Wow. Now, I'm seeing on here that there's 3 different types of breathing, and there's different purposes for each. So fast breathing, slow breathing, and balanced breathing. What are the different purposes, and what are those 3 types all about?
So, John, I always just tell people to think of breathing in three different effects it can have on your body: water, whiskey, or coffee. So depending on how you're breathing, you're either going to have a water effect, which is a balancing effect. You're going to have a whiskey effect, which is a down-regulating, a sleepy effect. You're going to have a coffee effect, which is a stimulating effect. And just like most of the time you want to drink water, most of the time you want to do water breathing practices, meaning balanced breathing practices. And the simplest way to think of that is about 4 to 6 breaths per minute. The simplest way to practice that, your listeners, whether they're in the car or at the gym, wherever they are, they can practice this right now. What they do is you inhale to the count of 4, and you exhale to the count of 4. And with that breathing pattern through your nose, you'll end up at about 4 to 6 breaths per minute, which is that water breath, that balancing breath.
I'm breathing right now, so I wasn't ready for you to be done talking. I was counting to 4. So now, are there dangers of like breathing the wrong way? Fast breathing, is that bad for you?
Yeah, there are dangers. It doesn't happen on accident. Usually, people would be they'd be aware that they're doing something a little bit extreme. The thing that people get into trouble with, especially right now, is over-breathing, or what's sometimes referred to as controlled hyperventilation. And there's a few breathing schools out there that teach people to do this because it puts you in an altered state. It kind of simulates an LSD experience. There's something called holotropic breathing, which has been around since the 60s. And in other cases, it can do things like allow you to do superhuman things, like hold your breath and withstand cold temperatures. But it's very, very risky, and people have gotten into serious trouble and even injury and death. And so it's something you want to be careful with. But in your everyday life, especially for people listening who are driving, you want to focus on that water breath, that balancing breath, 4 to 6 breaths per minute. So it's an inhale for a 4 count, exhale for a 4 count. You can do that always safely. For both whiskey and coffee breath, so down-regulating or up-regulating practices, you would want to use those with care. And you usually would use a whiskey practice right before bed, and a coffee practice you usually use first thing in the morning or right before physical exercise. And I know for people listening, it can be a little confusing to remember the rate of breathing. And if you want a little quick reference sheet I put together for radio listeners, you just go to yogabody.com/how-to-breathe. There's just a little quick reference there. It just shows you water, whiskey, and coffee breath.
Nice. yogabody.com/how-to-breathe.
Exactly.
And again, visiting right now with Lucas Rockwood. He's the founder of YogaBody. Now, let's talk a little bit about YogaBody. What is YogaBody, and how long has this been around?
I've been training teachers, and I've been a yoga teacher since 2003. But about 3.5 years ago, I wanted to create a new yoga experience for people. I call it yoga for non-yoga people. So we have no incense, no gurus, no chanting, no statues. It's very much fitness-oriented and science-based. So just like what we're talking about today, looking at how these really interesting mind-body practices can have a dramatic effect on our modern lives, dealing with the stuff that we're all dealing with. Weight problems, stress problems, injury problems, social issues, and all of these things we can bring into a really, really succinct 60-minute class. So that's what we do here in my studios in Barcelona. And we also train teachers all around the world who are using yogabody teaching and methodology in multiple languages all over the world. So that's really been our focus, is making these yoga practices more accessible by stripping away all the things that kind of scared people away, whether it was chants or religious paraphernalia or these kinds of things. When we want to bring people of all different beliefs, all different backgrounds together with the mind-body healing practices of yoga, and let people decide on their own what their own religious and spiritual beliefs are.
That's cool. So kind of taking yoga and making it mainstream then.
Yeah, making it mainstream and really making it accessible. So it's not scary. It's not about pretzel poses. There's no initiation. There's no, secret handshakes or code words. It's something that, literally we have mothers and children come. We have all different ages, all different backgrounds, and really crossing socioeconomic strata as well.
Well, Lucas, thank you so much for doing what you're doing, and thanks for taking the time to chat.
John, pleasure to be on the show, and I hope we can connect again soon.
That would be awesome. Again, right there, Lucas Rockwood. He is the founder of yogabody, and we were talking about some different breathing practices. If you'd like to know more, I'll give you the website once again. It's yogabody.com/how-to-breathe.
John and Heidi.
It's almost graduation time. If you have a son or daughter finishing high school, you need to hear this. They can go to college without racking up a pile of student loans. Matthew Einstein did. He saved over $70,000 on a top-rate education. Then he built a system to show you how to do it too. Learn how you can use this system for your kids or for yourself. Go to freeeducationuniversity.com. Sign up now and get a free 60-minute private consultation with Matthew. Use promo code RADIO20 to save 20% at freeeducationuniversity.com. That's freeeducationuniversity.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Pacific island of Tonga once used a stamp that was shaped like a banana.
Really?
I wonder if it tasted like a banana when you licked it.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Fun fact for you,
What's
Heidi.
that, John?
A person would have to drink more than 12 cups of hot cocoa to get the same amount of caffeine as 1 cup of hot coffee. 12 cups of hot chocolate to get the same amount. No, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Delivery times at Domino's Pizza in Hong Kong are primarily influenced by elevator traffic. They spend most of their time waiting for elevators. Interesting. I never would have thought of that.
Huh.
And another fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The worst time to reach the IRS is Monday at 1 p.m.
Okay, why?
Keep that in mind if you ever have to reach the IRS. You could leave them a message then. You're like, yeah, I tried to call you. Every Monday at 1 p.m. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
I don't know why we need to know this, but on the cartoon show The Jetsons, Jane Jetson was 33 years old. Daughter Judy, da-da-da-da-da-da. She was 15. So that means that Jane would have had Judy when she was 18. Somebody went through to do the math because they're like, I don't know, those two are too close together. That all checks out in my book. So now she
I
would have
never
been,
liked that cartoon
you didn't?
much.
Oh,
No.
I liked it. It was kind of like the Flintstones, but from the future.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
So there you go.
I liked the Flintstones.
Couple of fun facts. We're going to move on. Couple of fun facts for you right here on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 rat race? Sick of not controlling your financial destiny? We partner with a leading health company whose mission is to support you to build a home-based business and help others be healthier, drop excess pounds, and live longer, more rewarding lives. Best of all, everyone who joins after you is placed on your team. No bugging family or friends. Call 866-741-7242 for more information. Or if you like, text the word income to the same number, 866-741-7242. 866-741-7242.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Heidi's in a wily mood today. She's ready for the weekend. Next time you buy groceries, you know what you're supposed to do?
What?
Talk to the cashier. I always do that.
I always talk to the
So
cashier.
if you're not doing that, you're supposed to talk to the cashier or any other stranger because they say...
Or any other stranger.
Yeah, well, let me explain why. Talking with a stranger and doing so in a socially connecting way, like connecting with that person, will improve your own sense of well-being. It'll actually make you feel better about yourself.
All right.
So that's a good thing to do. According to researchers from the University of Chicago, they say It's long been conventional wisdom that we avoid talking to strangers because we think it will have a negative experience for us. We're like, oh, I don't want to talk to them because they might be jerks. Well, instead, the opposite appears to be true. Small talk with a stranger can actually spark happiness and make you feel more positive about your own life. So next time you buy coffee, talk to the barista. The study findings were published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology. So who got to do that study? That would be a fun study. Like, okay, you go out and just talk to people. I live that study.
Oh, yes, you do.
I mean, I once had somebody that called. It was the wrong number, and we talked for about 15 minutes.
That does not surprise me at all.
Maybe I'm a little too chatty. Is that what you're trying to say?
A little bit.
I think it's a good thing. I don't know. I try to cheer people up. You know, there's some people that they leave a wake of sadness and upset people because they just go through life like the Tasmanian devil, just, ripping through a crowd of people being mean and grumpy. I'm the exact opposite. I try to rip through a crowd of people being happy and cheerful and leave a bunch of smiles in my wake.
That's super.
Isn't that great?
The only wrong numbers I talk to are wrong number texts.
Oh, yeah. She's good at that, too. Somebody will send her a text message, and it'll be a wrong number, and she'll reply and talk to them for like 45 minutes, making them think their friend is really, really weird today. So if you've ever gotten one of those, it was probably from Heidi. All right. Coming up, we got more fun stuff on the John and Heidi Show. Thanks for listening on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
How much do you pay for cable or satellite? Don't forget your DVR rental fees and online movie accounts. When you add it all up, many people are paying well over $100 a month. Some pay way more. What if you could cut that down to zero? There's a device that surfs the net to find shows and programs you like with no monthly fee. Many have already cut their cable or tossed out their dish. If you have internet and a TV, you're all set. Learn more about this awesome technology that can save you money every month at channelsurfertv.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 25% at channelsurfertv.com. A scary study from Circulation Magazine found that after 2.5 hours of watching television per day, every additional 2 hours meant 40% higher risk for pulmonary embolism. It's a blockage in one of the lungs' pulmonary arteries caused by blood clots. So they're saying prolonged immobility, sitting around watching TV, can slow blood flow, leading to clots in your legs or pelvis. If these globs break free, they can travel to your lungs, potentially causing a heart attack or sudden death. This doesn't sound good.
No.
Single extended sitting sessions like international flights can also promote blood clots. But shifting positions or getting up to go to the bathroom or to grab some water will likely keep you safe when you're binge watching your favorite shows. So they're saying if you want to be safe, go to the fridge a bunch and get all kinds of stuff.
I don't think that's probably what they're saying.
Make sure you go to get a beer every once in a while. No, that's not what it is either.
No.
Don't they say beer is good for you? Like one beer.
Although I like the name of that magazine, Circulation Magazine.
Yeah,
Circulation that's very clever.
Magazine. That is.
It is because magazines have a circulation and it's about circulating
for your blood.
The blood.
That is.
I think that's very clever.
Whoever named that. 2 gold stars.
Right. 2 thumbs up from the John and Heidi Show.
There you go. Coming up, we got more fun stuff on the way. Are you feeling slow and stupid?
Always.
That's what the headline is. Seriously, that's what the headline is.
Always.
It says you may need to get more sleep. According to researchers at the University of Liège in Belgium, they kept 33 healthy young volunteers sleepless for 42 hours. How do you do that?
That would be awful.
And then they had MRIs monitoring their brain activity and their levels of melatonin and their body clock hormones. Afterwards, subjects were given cognitive tests while their reaction time and memory abilities were monitored. Results, the longer sleepless period, the more difficult the subject has with concentration and even simple problems like solving simple little things. And they got more sluggish as they became more tired. This is from Men's Fitness. So that makes a lot of sense. I've had it where I've been up way too late, got hardly any sleep, and then had to get up early and work right away. And then it's like I can't talk at all.
I feel sick to my stomach if I don't get enough sleep.
Well, get a lot of sleep. It's good for you.
John and Heidi.
It's almost graduation time. If you have a son or daughter finishing high school, you need to hear this. They can go to college without racking up a pile of student loans. Matthew Einstein did. He saved over $70,000 on a top-rate education. Then he built a system to show you how to do it too. Learn how you can use this system for your kids or for yourself. Go to freeeducationuniversity.com. Sign up now and get a free 60-minute private consultation with Matthew. Use promo code RADIO20 to save 20% at freeeducationuniversity.com. That's freeeducationuniversity.com.
John and Heidi.
Researchers are working on a thermal imager that one day may be used to detect liars at a government checkpoint. This is interesting stuff. The research arm of the Defense Intelligence Agency, they've been working on this for a long time, since 2000. So what's that, 17 years?
Okay.
Working on a camera that will measure minute changes of facial skin temperature. Those fluctuations, involuntary and undetectable even to the owner of the face, so you don't even know what's happening, indicate stress responses. And they say that can tell if you're lying or if you're telling the truth.
Who wouldn't be stressed if you're being interrogated by somebody?
Well, but they say researcher Troy Brown says that it might signal untruths. They're deeply
and then
interested.
You end up handcuffed and getting an anal probe when all you were is just nervous because somebody with a badge was asking you questions.
Well, maybe the first time anal probe has been said on our program, and hopefully it's the last. It was at least in a good context. So
I don't know. I think we should check tape. I bet it's not the first time I've said anal probe.
We're done saying it now. Come on. They are deeply interested in deciphering deception in job candidates applying for positions to access with classified information. So it's not like it's going to be at checkpoints. While you're doing an interview with, the CIA or whoever to get a job, you'd probably still be a little nervous. Also, they would use this on prisoners captured on the battlefield undergoing interrogations. So far, the only way the government can get an inkling if somebody may be less than truthful is doing a polygraph, the lie detector test. So they're saying this would be a better way to do it. Because if you're doing a lie detector test, they strap you in, you're doing it. This would be a thing where they'd be watching it on a monitor. You wouldn't even know they're doing it. So if you're lying to them, I think we should do this during all of the presidential debates and all of the political stuff. We should have an image where we can see if they're telling the truth or not. Huh?
That would be good.
Okay. We got some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap this program up with some good news, and I think this is good news. Listen to this. It says, if you don't sleep on your side, you might want to consider doing so. Because sleeping on your side, instead of like your back or your stomach, is apparently the most effective way to remove brain waste and could help you reduce your chances of getting Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and other neurological diseases. How cool is that?
I sleep on my side a lot. I start out on my back and then I end up on my side. But
well, it says here, let me read the rest. Stony Brook University is the one that did this. It says, while we sleep, our brains are actively in cleanup mode, sweeping up the junk and gunk that accumulates while we're awake. Kind of like a computer defragmenting. It says here, in the Stony Brook study, researchers found sleeping on your side is the best position to most effectively remove waste from the brain. Brain waste includes certain proteins and chemicals that negatively affect brain processes if they build up, and they could contribute to the development of Alzheimer's disease and other neurological conditions. But for some reason, side sleeping, also called lateral sleeping, is the most common sleep position for both humans and animals, including animals in the wild. It says we may have been created by God this way simply because it's the best way for your brain to do its thing while you're trying to sleep. So that's pretty darn cool. I'm going to have to sleep on my side all the time. Sometimes I sleep on my stomach. Sometimes I sleep on my back. Sometimes I sleep while watching TV.
All the time you sleep while you're watching TV?
In the theater, once while driving. I don't do that anymore. No, I can fall asleep just about anywhere. So that is good to know. And I just read a thing that said if you sleep on your left side opposed to your right side, that's better. If you sleep on your right side, it can cause heartburn. If you sleep on your left side, it's supposed to like make your heartburn go away. And I sleep on my right side, and I'm like, I got to sleep on my left side more often. So there you go. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Time to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, let's get this thing wrapped up. There's our good news for the day, and if you'd like to know more.
Totally botched our ending.
Did I?
Yeah.
That's not how it goes?
No.
How does it go? It's
Time
Friday.
to say goodbye, Heidi.
Okay, goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.